In February of 2003, thieves emptied a vault holding more than $100 million in diamonds, gold, and jewelry. That vault sat 2 floors underground in Antwerp, behind 10 separate layers of security. Infrared heat detectors, Doppler radar, a magnetic field, a seismic sensor, and a lock with 100 million possible combinations. Not one alarm made a sound, and not one person was so much as shoved. And the whole thing came undone because of a half-eaten salami sandwich. To understand the heist, you first have to understand the neighborhood, because Antwerp is not a normal city. The Belgian city of Antwerp has been a capital of the world diamond trade for over 5 centuries. By most estimates, the great majority of the world's rough diamonds pass through its diamond district. The district itself is just a few guarded blocks, where fortunes travel in little folded paper packets. Billions of dollars in stones change hands there every single year, and on one of those streets stood the Antwerp Diamond Center, an office building full of diamond merchants. 2 floors beneath it sat the vault where tenants locked away their stones, gold, and cash. On paper, this was one of the most secure rooms on the planet. Count the layers with me, because an owl who loves numbers does not get a list like this every day. The vault door held a combination dial with 100 million possible combinations. At 1 guess per second, trying them all would take you more than 3 years without a bathroom break. The door itself was a slab of solid steel with its own separate key, nearly a foot long. Break the magnetic seal on that door, and a silent alarm would wake up half of Antwerp. Inside, infrared heat detectors watched for the warmth of a human body. A Doppler radar unit swept the room for the slightest motion. A seismic sensor listened for drills, explosives, or anybody romantic enough to tunnel in. Add a light sensor, a locked steel grate, cameras, and constant monitoring, and you reach 10 layers deep. The vault floor held rows of private safe deposit boxes, each with its own key and its own code. Now, security this good does something strange to human beings, and here is your first money lesson. The vault was trusted so completely that, reportedly, plenty of what sat inside was not fully insured. When people decide a system cannot fail, they quietly stop paying to protect against its failure. Hold that thought, because it is about to get very expensive for a lot of merchants. Enter Leonardo Notarbartolo, a charming Italian from the Turin area with a flexible relationship with the truth. In the years before the heist, he rented a small office inside the Antwerp Diamond Center itself. He posed as a diamond merchant, kept a low profile, and paid his rent on time. That modest rent may be the best performing lease in criminal history, because a tenant badge bought him the 2 things no burglar can buy: time and trust. Tenants had access to the building around the clock, plus a safe deposit box of their own in the vault. So for years, the man planning to rob the vault was politely buzzed in to visit it. He studied the guard routines, the camera angles, and every one of those 10 famous layers. By his own later account, the crew even hid a tiny camera near the vault door to capture the combination. Police would eventually tie him to a crew of Italian specialists the press nicknamed the School of Turin. Alarm men, key men, lock men, the sort of faculty you recruit when the syllabus has 10 layers. The date they chose was the weekend of February 15th and 16th, 2003. The offices had emptied out, and the vault was not due to be opened again until Monday morning. Sometime that weekend, the crew got into the building without breaking a single window. Exactly how they entered is still argued about, which tells you how clean the entry was. Then the 10 layers began to fall, one by one, like polite dominoes. The infrared heat detectors were blinded with a coating of ordinary hairspray. A film from a drugstore can and a sensor system worth a fortune could no longer see a warm body. The magnetic plates on the vault door were carefully shifted and taped so the circuit never noticed the door had opened. The alarm did not lie, exactly, it was simply never told the truth. And that lock with 100 million combinations did not need to be guessed. Investigators believe the crew had already captured the combination, so the great dial simply spun to the right numbers. No explosives, no tunnel, no drilling through steel, and so the seismic sensor slept straight through it. They worked in the dark, box by box, with a simple homemade tool to force the doors. By the end, more than 100 of the vault's safe deposit boxes had been torn open. Out came loose diamonds by the handful, along with gold, jewelry, and stacks of cash. The official estimate put the haul at more than $100 million. And since some of what was stored there was never declared, many believe the true figure runs higher. To this day, it is called the largest diamond heist in history. Now appreciate the accounting elegance of stealing diamonds in particular. $100 million in gold bars weighs more than a ton, but in diamonds it walks out in a duffel bag. Thieves care about value density, and nothing on earth packs value tighter than a cut stone. By sunrise on Monday, the crew was long gone, and the building had no idea it had been robbed. On February 17th, staff opened the vault and found the floor littered with emptied boxes and scattered stones. The thieves had taken so much that they left actual diamonds lying on the ground. 10 layers of world-class security, and not one of them had made a sound. Every sensor had been beaten on its own terms, quietly, patiently, and in advance. Because security is a chain, and a chain is always priced by its weakest link. The weakest link here was never the steal. It was the assumption that nobody would spend years preparing. A perfect heist has one boring chore left at the end, destroying the evidence. By Notarbartolo's later account, one accomplice was supposed to burn the garbage from the job. Instead, the trash was dumped in a strip of woodland beside the E19 motorway between Antwerp and Brussels. That scruffy little strip of trees belonged to a retired local man who despised litter. He patrolled his land often, and when he found fresh garbage on it, he called the police. Dumped trash normally earns a shrug, but this bag had unusual contents. Envelopes printed with the name of the Antwerp Diamond Center. Bits of tape and tooling of the sort that had just been used in the vault under Antwerp, and one partially eaten salami sandwich. Somewhere in Antwerp, a detective realized the biggest diamond heist in history might be solved by a picnic. Forensic teams pulled DNA from the sandwich. It matched the charming tenant from the Diamond Center, Leonardo Notarbartolo. The paperwork pointed at the building, and the sandwich pointed at the man. On February 21, 2003, just 5 days after the heist, Notarbartolo was arrested. The vault's defenses had held for years, and the getaway lasted less than a working week. Prosecutors could place him at the center of the job, but the diamonds were another matter. Notarbartolo said nothing useful about where the stones had gone. A Belgian court sentenced him to 10 years in prison. A handful of suspected accomplices were convicted too, though the full crew was never completely untangled. Notarbartolo was paroled in 2009 after serving part of his sentence. He then told the journalist a remarkable story, claiming the crew was hired by a dealer to fake the heist for insurance money and that the real haul was far smaller. That is his claim, unproven, and you should price it accordingly, since it is exactly what a man with unspendable diamonds might say. The insurance angle does expose a real wound though, because so much in that vault was underinsured or undeclared. Some victims could not fully prove what they had lost, which meant some losses could never be made whole. If a diamond heist teaches you one practical thing, let it be this: insure what matters and keep records that would survive a very bad weekend. As for the diamonds themselves, most have never been recovered. More than 2 decades later, over $100 million in stones is still simply gone. In 2025, Netflix released a documentary called Stolen: Heist of the Century, with Notarbartolo himself telling his version on camera. Still charming, still vague, and still not saying where anything went. The vault had 10 layers, but the story's last layer has never been opened. The lesson, from one owl who has audited a few hen houses, is that the finest security on earth protects everything except the assumptions of the people who trust it. The machines held the line for years, and the humans handed over the keys with a smile and a lease. If you enjoy watching $100 million lessons paid for by someone else, perch here and subscribe to Money Mechanics, because Sterling always has another vault of stories.